Hey, this past weekend, I went to the Michiana Mondo show, comics, cards, and collectibles, and I picked up a stack of comics. Let me show you what I got. So, hi, James from Rewar Comics. Let's begin by please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if that is something you'd like to do and enjoy the dialogue. But anything that you do to express your appreciation, I'm really grateful for. Helps me understand that what I'm doing, the content I'm making, is actually appreciated by someone. So, starting out this past weekend, I went to the Mondo collectible show. It was here in Michiana, actually, Mishawaka, Indiana, the town right over to the west of me, at a Holiday Inn in the convention center there. It was pretty packed. I was amazed at how much they had there. A lot of it had to do with different collectible cards. There were a lot of sports cards. There were other cards, uh, collectible card game type cards like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, etc. There were also other collectibles, some action figures, Funko Pops, that type of thing. What I went there though for is comic books. I hadn't budgeted a lot for this, and I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't looking for anything in particular. I was just there hoping to find something that would help fill in some runs, maybe dive in some dollar bins. And I wasn't disappointed with what I saw. I think next time I'll be better prepared for this. This is an event that happens twice a year. I missed the first one is earlier in, I think it was the spring. Anyway, so I went there, had a modest budget. And when I'm saying modest, I took $40 out of an ATM at a 7-Eleven before I went there. I didn't have a lot of time, only about an hour. I was supposed to be running some errands, doing some grocery shopping. And so I was hoping to duck in real quick, check some things out. If there's anything that kind of attracted my attention, I was going to pick it up. Um, because I'd met my collecting goal for this year, I'll be honest, I didn't have anything like at the top of my list to look for. There are a couple runs that I was hoping maybe I'd find something. Rocket Captain America run comes to mind. Rom comes to mind. But I had no joy with those. However, I was able to pick up a stack of books. There's about 20 or so here. And when you do the math, it works out to be just a little bit shy, just a little south of $2 a book, which isn't bad. There were a couple more expensive books to start with, and those will stand out as I go to it, but most of them were dollar books, which helped kind of bring it down into something that seemed affordable. The first place I stopped, and I actually wasn't the third place I stopped. First two places didn't have anything I was looking for. It had a lot of Marvel stuff, but not Marvel stuff I wanted. You know, again, no Captain America, no Rom. They had some Fantastic Four books, which was also something on my radar. I am kind of working on a volume one run, but it wasn't anything that struck me as I wanted to pay for. Oh, sorry about that. I am just adjusting the camera. There we go, slightly. So the first place I went to purchase, I'm actually checking the name right here, was Henchman Trading Company. I picked up three books, and together these ended up being $20, which, considering both the issues I was looking at and also the condition, 20 bucks seemed to be a pretty good deal. Two of these were $5 books. One was a $10 book, and that $10 book is pretty reasonable. I'm saying the word pretty a lot. I'm realizing that now. I don't know what fair market value was. I wasn't looking it up, but I know this particular well, let me just show you what I got and it'll make sense. So the first book I saw, and this is helping me with my volume 3 Fantastic Four run. This is done by Hickman. Let's see, there's a whole list of other artists and writers on this. So this is Fantastic Four, issue number 600. This was a 100-page 50th anniversary issue. Sorry about the glare. Because of the variations in the white right here, you don't get the nuances. You can't see, for example. Um, yeah, sorry about that. It's just not showing up. Oh, that's much better. There we go. So this was a $5 book for a 100-page issue. It looks to be in near mint condition, and that's something I was looking at. I was eyeballing it, looking for any issues with spine, corners, anything like that. And there wasn't anything. And the fact that this is a 100-page book, $5 seemed reasonable, and it is helping me with my volume 3 run, which I think Fantastic Four is going to be one of those runs that, or one of those titles where, and this is something I've realized for a while, Fantastic Four has been one of those titles that Marvel Studios has been dipping into for characters, for story points, not necessarily the whole team, though. I mean, we saw that with Agatha Harkness and Agatha all along. Um, so anyway, I picked that up, and I think the Hickman run is going to be one of those runs that ages really well. I like the fact that it was a long run to begin with, and Volume 3 as a whole was. Volume 3, let's see. I mean, I know it says this is 600, but they redid the numbering. I think there was like 150 books or something like that. I need to double check. No, because Volume 1 went up to 400. So a couple hundred books. Anyway, so I picked that one up. Then I picked up a Stray Uncanny X-Men title. This was a $5 book. It was in nice condition. And this is another run that I'm kind of low key working on. This is not at the top of my list right now. But they had an issue, good condition, $5. I figured why not. So this is Uncanny X-Men issue number 229. This is actually the first appearance of the Reavers, which didn't we see those in Old Man Logan? This looks kind of, maybe it's not a Jim Lee cover. Anyway, maybe it's a Daniels cover. I don't know. And then the last one, these were both $5 books. This was a $10 book. This is Stray Dogs issue number issue number 2. This is the horror movie variant. Okay, which uh, I have Stray Dogs in trade, and I have all the later, like, what is it? The fourth print, third print, all that, those horror movie poster homages. And so I've been trying to get the first print, and to see an issue of that kind of in the wild for $10, not too bad. I'll pick that up, and it's in really minty condition. Then, as I was kind of strolling along, this was in a huge convention room. I was going around the edges before I kind of walked down the middle. I could see in the middle there was a lot of collectibles, a lot of action figures, a lot of trading cards, and a lot of people. And all of that was slowing me down because I'd given myself an hour limit at this show. I walked past someone. They had a bunch of Spawn books. I was kind of jazzed about that because I'm trying to finish my Spawn 100, first 100 issues. And I only had a couple strays left. And he had a lot in the upper 80s, but not what I needed. I think I need like 3 issues in the 90s. And then he had a bunch of cards and stuff like that. Went a little further down, and there was another guy, and he had some comic books, and he had some keys out. But I'd already spent half my budget for this, and I wasn't looking for picking up a big key. I really was just there to just dive in some dollar bins and see what I could find for run fillers and stuff like that. So I was flipping through because everything in this one box, it said that if it wasn't in a bag and board, it was $1. And then if it was in a bag and board, it was whatever the price was. So I'm flipping through really quick, and I've kind of been reflecting on how I go through books. And if I have time, I'm going very carefully, one at a time. But I did not have a lot of time. So I'm kind of chunking it, going like, okay, this is all Justice League. I don't need any of that. This is some Marvel title. Don't need any of this. Green. Saw a lot of Green Lantern and Green Arrow. Neither one of those titles really are even on my radar. So I'm just like, quick, 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 quick. I'm spending 5 minutes at this guy's table. And I found this book here. And this book only is in my awareness at all because I was listening to the Comic Tom podcast. I think this was the Shakers podcast. I think. No, 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 no. Maybe it was. I don't know. Anyway, and this was mentioned. It was him and whoever is the comic book store owner. he was saying that, hey, this was something no one got, so there's not a lot of these out there, and they're like, people are buying them and they're going for 15, $20 a pop. And I'm going like, oh, here it is in a bin for $1. I'm not sure if I'm going to flip it yet. Maybe I will. That will help pay for some comic books I bought. But here we have, this is Batman, The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween. This is issue number 0, the prologue, which is actually a reprint. This was from Batman Day. You can see right down here. And sure enough, I checked on eBay. These things are going for like 15, 16, $17 a pop, which, considering they were free comic books just last month, that's crazy. So I'm just going to see how it kind of goes, and maybe this will be a book that I end up selling. It is in mint condition, which I really thought was cool. It has kind of a cardstock cover, which I think that's what saved it, considering it was in a box with stuff that had no bags and boards. So anyway, there we go. Then I went to, there was this in the corner, and it kind of struck me. The organizer was going around talking to some of the booths along the back wall and everything like that. All the comic books were on the back wall that I was seeing. In the corner, the far corner from the entrance, there was this lady, had a couple tables, had some short boxes, and some of these were so packed it was hard to go through. And I just didn't have time to kind of pull them out and look. But this was Loyal Dog Comics. And I'm not sure where they are. I think Logansport, Indiana. Okay. Um, so most of these, except for the last two, all of these came from them, because on the box it said everything in the box $1, and she had like a dozen short boxes, so that gave me a chance to kind of flip through them, and there was some. It was this eclectic variety. She had labels on them, and some said indie, some said Marvel, DC, and in broad strokes they were organized that way. Like all the indie books were in the indie boxes, but the DC books kind of had indie books, kind of had some Marvel books. There was some semblance of organization, but bare bones. I'm sorry, I have some hiccups. So this helped me. I've been kind of low key working on an Aquaman run, because Aquaman is a character that I remember from Super Friends, and I had Aquaman under Ruse, and he was a really cool character back in the 70s. When I was growing up. So I figured, why not? So this is, okay. And I'm going to show this. And as I'm going through this, I want to kind of explain something. So this is volume 3, issue number 5. Here we see him with his fish telepathy. And then we have, these are volume 5, issue number 5. This one's a key or minor key. There's some character that shows up. Really awesome cover. Who did this? I can't. It's 2 artists. So love that kind of a Cthulhu-esque look. And we have the Aquaman from Justice League, who doesn't have a hand. Then we have issue number 6. This looks like it's a Magnola cover. Look at that. That is pretty sweet. Issue number 9, with some, I have no idea who this guy is. Anyway, we have Aquaman though. Issue number 27, and then this jumped up to volume 7. So this is New 52, issue number 48. I just have a couple stray issues in this, smattering here and there, like maybe six issues. Issue number 49, and then annual number 2. So as I'm going through and I'm putting these books aside and I'm checking CLZ, going, is this a book I need? Is this a book I need? Because I'm running out of time. Like at that point I had 20 minutes left. So I'm just like, is this a book I need? Is this a book I need? Because they're dollar books. And they had, I recognize it now. It was Aquaman Volume 2, It's not that old, so it's not like Gasp Volume 2. This was from the early 80s, I think, like 80. No, okay, mid 80s, like 85 or 87. But they had issue 234. But at the top, it said in the banner, um, 4-part miniseries. And I went, oh, this is an Aquaman miniseries. I don't need that. I want every volume of Aquaman. And right now, I'm finishing up with 7. 7? Yeah. I have all of 8. And I'm walking backwards as I kind of low key pick them up, if I happen across them. Because Aquaman is not on anybody's radar right now. Volume 1 has some pricey books. I get that. But I can work from 2 to the current volume and not have to worry about a big investment yet. And then when I get to that volume 1, that's when I'm going to have to begin making some choices about how I collect. And I totally get that. But there it was. There was volume 2, almost all of it. I think it was 2, 3, 4. I don't think they had issue number 1. I looked at it because it said miniseries at the top. I totally put it back in the box. So um, here is the lesson. Use CLZ, trust CLZ. Most of the time it's right. The only time it's wrong, it's when this guy here put in the wrong information. Okay. Then we have Batgirl. This is New 52. I think this is volume number 4. We have issue number 4, and this looks like an Adam Hughes cover. I think it is. Now, this one of the cool things is on the new DC books, they always tell you who the artist is, the cover artist, right next to the barcode. And I wish some other books do that. Ghost Machine does that right by the barcode. I wish Marvel would do that. Anyway, so this looks like Adam Hughes. I'll have to check. And I'll put it right below if it is. This was a straight indie book. This is Elric, The Vanishing Tower. This was a Roy Thomas affair. And like his first Elric book was Pacific Comics from the 80s. This came out in 87. Okay. So it was just a stray book. And looking at it, it has a little ding in the corner. But this book is like 37 years old. So Elric is an awesome character, by the way. They had a Fantastic Four book. This is actually a Pence variant, if that's a thing. And it's actually a minor key. This is the first appearance of Avatar, which is Franklin Richards. I don't know anything about the story, but very cool looking cover. They had an issue of Denny O'Neill's The Question. This is issue number 8. Suggested for mature readers. You can see why on the cover. And then as I'm walking out and like I'm going out the door, I noticed there were a couple sellers that I missed. Again, by this point, I was down to just a couple dollars. I think I had $7 left. And so this one guy had dollar brands and I went, bum, 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 bum. And he tried to sell me the whole thing. It's like, hey, you want this whole long box, $20. And I'm like, yeah, I already spent all my money, dude. And there's a bunch of stuff I don't want. But they did have an annual I needed for my Silver Surfer Volume 3 run. 1998 annual starring the Mighty Thor. And then I thought this is a book I picked up. I thought it was a variant cover. It is for the 4th printing. But it was $1 and it was shiny and it attract my attention. So we had Berserker issue number 4. This is a Grandpa variant cover. Very cool. I thought it was issue number, it is issue number 1, but it's the 4th print. All right. So there you go. That was my haul from the Michiana Mondo collectibles show. It was cards, comics, and collectibles at a Holiday Inn in Mishawaka, Indiana. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about comic books. I always appreciate anybody that's made it to this point. If you would please subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, tell me what you think about my books. That would be much appreciated. And as you go through the week, I hope you remember to read more comics.